Hi guys, it's Rachel from the future here. I realized that past Rachel didn't actually tell you anything about this book. She just started going. Please forgive her. She was nervous. She didn't know what she was doing. Anyway, I'm here to give you a very brief summary about this book since I think everyone kind of knows what it's about, but just in case you're watching this and you don't know, Radio Silence is about a teenage girl named Frances who is starting her journey into college. In school, she is head girl. She's known as this like studious, really smart, shy, quiet person, but underneath it all, she's actually a huge geeky nerd. And she does fan art for her favorite YouTube podcast called University. One day she accidentally meets the creator of University, forms a friendship with them, and then things go really, really wrong when the creator of University is outed, and it's a book about that, basically. There's not a super huge plot in this book. It's very much like character study, but I still wanted you guys to know just a little bit about it since I just started talking and didn't explain anything. And I have a seltzer water. Okay, back to past me. I hope you enjoy. You wanna come join me? Come here. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a brand new video of mine. This is my first ever reading vlog and I'm really excited about it. Pretty much since the start of making my channel, I've always wanted to make a reading vlog. I just think vlogs are really fun. Vlogs are like my favorite videos to watch on BookTube. I don't know why. Something about watching other people read and hearing their like in real time thoughts about books is like really enjoyable to me for some reason. So I figured, why not? Let's do it. Let's try it out. What's there to lose? What could go wrong? I only have I don't even have 200 subscribers. And I think at least 40 of you are my mom or my dad, just in disguise. But let's get right into what this video is going to be on. Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This is 100% because of Katie Can't Read. I'm going to link her channel below. She is a queen. I love her. Once I found out that she was a huge Alice Oseman fan, I was like, well, you know what? I've never had any inclination to try an Alice Oseman book just because I don't really think I'm the target audience for this book. But that just made me think maybe that could be an interesting video. For context, I am 28 years old, so very out of the age range for this book. And also I am a college dropout. I'm not ashamed of that fact and I don't regret it. And at present, I have mostly gotten over all of the bitter feelings I feel towards college and people in college and college graduates. But I know that Alice Oseman in the Alice Oseman verse, which is what her fans lovingly call all of her books, primarily deal with people either in college, going to college, or kind of like a coming of age, kind of surrounding like the ideas of university. Our main character in this book already, like from the 70 pages that I've read, it's very heavily focused on her thoughts about college or university and everything surrounding that. So like I said, I just wanted to see if as someone who never got this experience could relate to this or enjoy this book. So far, I'm loving it. I like it a lot. Alice Oseman's writing style is so good. It's very like blunt and to the point. I messaged Katie I think on page 20 and was like, I'm already losing my mind over this. And in our group chat with Nicole, I even mentioned the book too, and Katie brought up a good point about how it doesn't have a lot of purple prose or filler and fluff. In the book, she's not describing, everyone's outfits or the architecture or the setting and everything. She's just going to the bare bones points, but it's still something I really like that. What do people talk about in reading vlogs? It's like I suddenly forget how to talk about books in front of a camera. As you saw in my B-roll footage, I didn't really do much today. I kind of just played video games and hung out with my boyfriend before he had to go to work, and I cracked into this. Forgot to record myself reading it though, so can't use one of those cute little transitions, but I think I'm actually going to leave the book off here tonight, and I'm just going to catch up on BookTube and really enjoy my life and relax. This is going to be a hard week for me. My night auditor at work is gone for the next 3 weeks, so I have to fill in graveyard shift twice a week, and I'm gonna get a lot of reading done. That's all I can say. All right, forgive me if I'm a little rusty and I don't really know what I'm doing in this vlog. It's my first one. We'll figure it out together, guys. Catch ya in the next clip. Come here. Psst, psst, psst. here. Come here. Thank you. Oh, Sam, are you gonna read Alice Oseman with me? Oh, he's pissed. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try really hard to be really quick because I'm at work right now, and it is 2 a.m. This is the only time I can really film a check-in because my work schedule is, she's not great, and I don't want to talk about it, honestly. But I'm stuck at work, but I wanted to check in with you guys about radio silence because I have some thoughts, and I've really, really been enjoying it, and I love it so much. In my intro clip, I talked about how I didn't know whether or not this was going to be like a relatable read for me because I dropped out of college. I never got the college experience, etc. I can say that I'm not relating to these characters right now, per se, like as an adult, but I can definitely see how these are very relatable characters to people nowadays. And I think that if I had read this when I was 16, I would have loved it. I would have enjoyed it so much. And it really would have helped me in a lot of ways. I'm just past that point now, unfortunately. So no, I don't find it relatable, but it's really, really good and really like already emotional. I'm 163 pages in. I'm gonna keep holding this just so you can't really see all of the background. Maybe I'll just like pop Katie's face in everywhere so you guys can't dox me. They had a conversation about gender in here that I just loved so much. There is a non-binary agender character, and they're trying to decide how they would draw them and present them in like a video illustration. And they're talking about how they're just thinking they shouldn't draw them at all because there is no one presentation for an agender person. Like, how can you give them an appearance when gender doesn't matter at all? They don't want to, you know, fit any sort of stereotype that a lot of non-binary people who don't feel either genders can sometimes fall into. Like they mention how masculine presenting but like a skinny, slight feminine frame is something that gets shoehorned into androgyny and stuff like that. Since this is a book for teenagers, I love that that was included. I love that the word agender was used on the non-binary spectrum. That's definitely the one that I relate to the strongest. I'm not non-binary. I don't think, who knows? But that is the one that I feel the strongest connected to. And I love that this is a term that's being introduced to teenagers to form their own opinions. I do think that this is like largely a character study, and I don't really jive with character studies usually. I usually need a plot that's kind of like driving everything forward. But I like both of these characters so much so far that, sorry, Addie LaRue, you didn't do it for me, but like, Alid Last is my king. I work at a hotel and a guest just walked by. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up because I really shouldn't be filming at my job. Just want to let you guys know how I'm feeling, my thoughts on it. So far, this is seriously like crash coursing into maybe a 5-star read for me. Like, I'm reading this and already thinking like I'm gonna reread this again. So yeah.
Do you remember how the rabbits glared as we drove down the road? Jealous, maybe, or scared. I was always behind her, waiting for the window to drop.
The Latin name for the fox is Vulpes vulpes. You always thought that sounded nice. I'm so angry about these ghost school problems.
Problems feels like an overstatement.
Are you gonna go smoke your little cigarettes while you lean out of the window under the stars? You were always brave enough to get burned in the fire. I wonder if you regret your obsession with Bukowski. I regret it, and it wasn't even me who had it.
At least you were careless enough to admit that you were obsessed with something. I only say horrible things because I feel guilty. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. I hate people telling me what I have to do.
Why should I have to go just because everyone's telling me to? My mother? Nobody should be able to make decisions for me.
I'm here now, and I'm waiting, and it's going to happen. Was there ever any choice involved? Do I sound like I care about school? I can't remember it happening. I don't remember anything I've done or why.
Everything's very confused. Everything's better under the stars, I suppose. If we get another life after we die, I'll meet you there, old sport.
Welcome back to me. So as you saw throughout this vlog, I read Radio Silence, and I'm here to wrap this vlog up. I don't even know where to begin with this book. I have so many thoughts. Just gonna outright say it. I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's probably one of my new favorite books of all time. It's a book I'm going to shout about and constantly recommend it to people. It's really, really, really good. I would honestly say this is one of the few books on BookTube that is overhyped, that kind of deserves its overhypeness. Deserves it. When I first embarked on reading this, as you saw in my first clip, I want to clarify because I talked about how I wanted to know if this book was still going to be relatable to someone who is wildly out of the bracket for which it is marketed towards. Even if I didn't relate to this book, I don't think that that would have detracted from it at all. Not all books are created equal. This is obviously a young adult book. I'm not in the wheelhouse. It wasn't supposed to directly appeal to me. I don't think that every book has to resonate with every single reader for it to be a valid book, just so you know. That being said, it was very relatable in the end in a lot of different ways. One of the ways this book really touched me was Frances as a character and the many layers that she puts on herself to block everyone out. In the book, she describes having school Frances and Frances herself as like the actual Frances. And that is something that I no longer do, but something that I used to do pretty hard too. Like, if you had met me in my early 20s and asked to see my internet history, I would have freaked out. I would have been terrified. I don't have any guilty pleasures these days. Like, everything I like is just out in the open these days. I think that you have to go through a lot of shit to get to that point of being as self-confident as I am as an adult now. When you're 16, it's just so terrifying for people to know you, who you actually are. There are a lot of times when she's talking to people and she literally says, and then I didn't say anything because I didn't know what to say. And I think that teenage me would have been best friends with Frances. I also think that this book is marketed wrong sometimes. I had always thought of this book as like a coming of age story about a character going to college. And it is kind of, but not to spoil, I don't think it's a spoiler. Honestly, you get it from the very first like couple pages of the tone of this book. But this is definitely more about the societal pressures on teenagers to make a decision about the rest of their lives at like age 17, which is just ridiculous. And I always see this book being a direct answer to like, I'm headed to college. What's a good book that I should read before going to college? Or like, I'm in my first year of college. What's a relatable book? And this always gets recommended, but I think that this is more so a book for someone who doesn't want to go to college or university and doesn't know what they're doing with their life and result to that. This is, I wouldn't say it's anti-university at all. It's just, it's definitely for people who feel as if they don't know what they're doing. This is also one of the few young adult books that I've read that handles a huge variety of topics and puts them all in one book and juggles all of those things really well. At its core, you have the conflict of two characters going to college who just frankly don't want to go to college or are starting to decide maybe they don't want that as their future. But it also handles things like mental health, friendships, the ugly side of mental health that no one ever wants to talk about. There's a character in this who is going through a huge depressive episode, and they cut off all of their friends. They stop replying to text messages. They stop answering their phone calls, etc. And to their friends, everyone's like, oh, they're ghosting me. I feel cut off. I feel abandoned. Like they don't love me anymore. But in reality, it's just a really ugly symptom of depression that people gloss over and don't recognize. And this book handled it really well, because if you're friends with someone who's mentally ill, they are going to have symptoms that are really ugly and hard to face. And one of them is pushing everyone away and ghosting your friends. And the character who does do that is suffering so much. And I love the way this book handled their friends coming to terms with that and realizing that they need to put their own hurt feelings aside for their better health, like in helping their friends. There is a platonic friendship at the very forefront of this book. Like it is the main relationship in the book, and a lot of young adult novels don't tackle friendship, that it's just pushed to the side. But a completely platonic, non-romantic relationship between a boy and a girl is, I'll read the quote from the back. It even says, "You probably think that Alice and I are going to fall in love or something since he is a boy and I am a girl. I just wanted to say we don't." And it was so nice reading about Aled and Frances being friends and how much they loved each other and how much that love and friendship, transcended the normal friendship boundaries. Like they cuddle and they hold each other and they lay underneath blankets together, and it's just, the boundaries are just falling apart, and it's so wholesome. This also has fantastic queer representation. It uses the words agender, demisexual. There is a gay character. Frances herself is bisexual. She's kind of struggling and coming to terms with it in the book. I wouldn't say that she's struggling so much with it. She's struggling to say it out loud. She clearly, honestly realizes herself that she's bisexual. I'm so thirsty this morning. I would say what sets this book apart from so many other books that I've read is that the characters in this feel real. They feel like real people. If you were to come to me and tell me that Alice Oseman just wrote about her friends, I would believe you, because they feel so realistic. Every dialogue, every internal choice and action that these characters had just felt authentic. Like it felt so real. And usually when you're reading about teenage characters, they feel stilted, at least a little bit, and they don't necessarily feel 100% authentic to the time period that they're in. But this was just, everything about it was great. When Aled and Frances are first having their meetings, they're so awkward and cute and just realistic to themselves. I don't really like character studies. I think I found that out with Addie LaRue, but I loved this one. There's not a whole lot of plot going on throughout the entire book. It's kind of slow, but I read it really quickly despite how slow it was, or how slow the pacing is. I can't wait to pick up more Alice Oseman books just to see her other characters. I've read Heartstopper, the graphic novel series, obviously. Who hasn't at this point? And if you haven't, you should. But I just think that she excelled in making me care about these characters and making them feel like they were my friends too. And I'm a weird adult, so that is strange, but still. I'm gonna put it with my plant. I wanted to wrap up my thoughts on this book, not so much about the book as I think the message that goes with the book is really important and something that should be talked about more. I don't want it to feel like a dirty word when I say that I am a college dropout. I don't feel ashamed of it at all. But I still think in 2020, we treat people who decide either not to continue on with their education or people who decide to drop out of college for their own well-being as pariahs almost. And that's simply not true. There's so many options outside of college that you can pursue whether that be a trade school or going straight into like retail and other small jobs. Like, you wouldn't think it, but starting in those tiny little starter jobs, you can build your way up and create such a resume that is going to blow people away, even if you don't have a bachelor's degree or even an associate's degree. I'm 28 and I am never ever afraid that I won't have a job, because I know that I will nail a resume and an interview, bar none. Like, I just know it. Every time I film, she's trying to find that little ball. Every time. So I'm an adult, clearly. I said in the beginning, I'm 28 years old. I live in a really nice apartment, indoor gym, indoor pool when it's not COVID time. I have a wonderful significant other who we both are making moves to try and get a house someday. I have a job that I don't love, but it pays well. And, you know, I don't have this lingering sense of failure or feeling like I missed out. I mean, I feel like I missed out on the social aspects of college and university. I think that more people who haven't gone to college or haven't or dropped out should talk to younger people and let them know that you're fine. It's okay. You'll survive. You're not going to be homeless. Or even if you are, you'll get on your feet someday eventually anyway. Like, the world doesn't stop and end with secondary schooling. It just doesn't. I think there should be more young adult books that have that conversation, because so many young adult books are always focused on college. The characters are always focused on, gotta do my SAT prep before I go hang out with Brad and fall in love and have a cute little story, but the lingering doom cloud of college is always over every single text. I just think that, you know, especially with the way our secondary schooling options is set up in America at the very least, it's not for everyone. It's not ever going to be for everyone. And if it isn't for you, that's fine. So that was my rant on radio silence and why it's okay to not go to college. I really enjoyed making this vlog. I think I'm going to branch out and try vlogs again. I actually have another idea for a vlog that I'm excited about. I hope you guys like this. I'm filming this at like 9 in the morning and I woke up at 3 a.m. today. I really like the aspect of like learning how to make this and everything. So I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that it was fun to watch. I hope that I convinced you to read Radio Silence just the same way Katie convinced me to read it, just by existing and being beautiful. Also, shout out to Katie because I love her and I'm so happy that I have found her on the little corner of the internet that I found her on. Shadows. So yeah, I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Bye. Bye.